What's up guys, this is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we're going to be reviewing the Walther PPQ Q5 Steel Frame Match, the all-new competition pistol from Walther. First I want to mention my patron supporters. Thank you guys, you keep the channel moving. We do a monthly giveaway just because of that. If you want to be entered into a monthly giveaway, all you got to do is be a supporter of the channel. This month's giveaway item is going to be a pair of Peltor Electronic Gear Pro. Also, I want to mention ammo.com. They leave a link in the description for $20 off an order of $200 or more. And for my Instagram, you want to see cool guns like this before they hit the reviewing table. The first place to find those is usually my Instagram. So what is the PPQ Q5 Steel Frame Match? Well, it is exactly what it sounds. It is the steel frame version of the very awesome PPQ Q5 that I reviewed last year. It has a 5-inch barrel, comes with 3 15-round 9mm magazines, 5.4 inches tall, a hefty 42 ounces, making it a little bit less than double the weight of the original polymer frame PPQ, but still is very similar to standard steel frame guns like my Wilson Combat 1911 or the original Shadow. Both come in at 42 ounces. What would you use this gun for? Well, I would use it for competition for sure. USPSA, Steel Challenge, IDPA, 3-gun, 2-gun, whatever your fancy is, there's a division that this gun would most likely kick ass in. Other than competition, you could also use it for home defense. Since it has a full-length dust cover with a pick rail, you could add a light, and that's really all you need to add to this particular gun to make it a pretty outstanding home defense gun. Some of the features that make this gun awesome, as you can see right here, first off is the looks. The PPQ Q5 Match is a pretty awesome looking gun. It looks like something out of a superhero film. Well, actually, it was in Deadpool. It was in Deadpool 2. It was Cable's gun. And this looks even better, in my opinion. The full-length dust cover with the pick rail is a real awesome point for this gun, in my opinion. Plus, the original slide cuts, which were on the original. This is pretty much the original slide, except for they changed the lockup a little bit, and they added this awesome-looking steel frame here. And that blue trigger, again, just like the other one, really stands out. It has a tinifer coating. The slide cuts come standard. It is striker fired, so it will be a consistent trigger pull, unlike its double action counterpart, the CZ Shadow 2. So if you're looking for training and defense, that single action striker fire or that striker fired trigger pull that you're going to have on this gun is going to be very consistent, and a lot of people really like that. It adds the dust cover, as I said. It adds this cool looking beaver tail here, adds a bunch of weight with the steel grip, and as you can see there, it has a different type of grip as well. And as of right now, there are no back straps available, but I think I would assume, going along with some other guns that I know, this looks like a one-piece grip module here, and I imagine they will be selling others in the future. You can also get it with a magwell if you choose, although this is the standard version that comes in at $1,500, and the Pro version comes with a magwell and extended magazines, and that is around $1,700. It also has the same red dot mounting system that the original PPQ had, the optics mounting system, and it still has the same issue the original PPQ had as well, that you have to remove the rear sight to put an optic on. For competition, it's not a big deal. For something like a defensive gun, though, you might want to have co-witness iron sights because it does take quite a lot of repetitions to pull that dot up on command. So having co-witness iron sights actually allow you to get to that dot a little bit quicker if you don't have thousands and thousands of reps through the gun. Now it also has fiber optic sights, which are extremely impressive. The blacked out rear and the fiber optic front is a favorite of mine. So these sights are pretty excellent. The front sight is very thin and usable, so it's very good at distance as well. This pistol is extremely accurate. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, before I get into that, I want to say thank you to Michael Williams. He is a viewer of mine who sent me this awesome pistol to review. Without you, the people that watch this review, you probably would have never have got this because this is an expensive and fairly hard to find gun. So thank you again very much for sending this to me. Now we'll talk about reliability because that is the most important category for a semi-automatic pistol in my opinion. I shot 1,000 rounds through this pistol. Out of that 1,000 rounds, I had 0 malfunctions whatsoever until I hit about the 900 mark. Then my wife had a couple of limp wristing failures. I decided to shoot it with not quite enough pressure on the gun itself, and I actually had 1 failure as well. So if you're going to shoot this gun, make sure you have good pressure on it, especially in 10 below, which we were shooting. I'm not going to really knock the pistol for that because any pistol can be limp wristed, and it's more likely to happen in colder weather. And you caused a malfunction.
Did I?
Yeah. That gun really likes a lot of pressure, and you still have a malfunction.
How?
Tap the rear of the slide forward. There you go, you're good to go. And again.
All right.
Eject the mag, pull the mag out, rack the slide. There you go. Rack it again, make sure you're good. Insert the mag hard. Tap the bottom of the mag, rack the slide hard. There you go.
Okay, I'm not that good.
You got a hit though, at 50 yards. There you go.
Nah, that was...
rounds are barely coming out, huh? Another problem.
What'd I do?
Fix it the same way you fixed it last time. Same malfunction. Eject the mag. Work the slide. And hand the gun to me, and we'll see if it does it on me. Keep the camera rolling here.
Okay. I was just hoping I could look really cool, but
you did look cool. You cleared malfunctions like a boss. You hit one at 50 yards.
Well,
it didn't lock back, but it worked for me. It means it's just limp wrist and a little bit. It's cold. The gun's getting a little dirty. As far as accuracy goes, it is awesome, and it should be. This is a $1,500 competition gun designed to have excellent accuracy at extreme speeds. And for that, it does very well. Is it the best out there on the market? I would say no. I would say that the trigger is excellent. It brings the PPQ Q5 trigger from the original 5.5 pound striker fired trigger. I'll show you it here again. So a little bit of take up, hit that nice clean wall, reset really, really quick. We'll compare that to a Shadow 2 here. This is a stock Shadow 2. Single action. On the single action, the Shadow 2 is shorter, crisper, and lighter. So it's going to make you a little bit faster. The downside is, if you're going to be running in USPSA production division, you're going to have to start with that double action pull, or if you're just using it for defense or whatever, you're going to start with that double action pull, so you're going to have to run through that. Then the gun's going to go into single action, and then you can run that nice trigger. Whereas the PPQ, you are going to have the same trigger pull all the time, so you're never going to have to worry about that double action. So it's kind of a give and a take there. Do you want a slightly better trigger with the start being a double action, or do you want a trigger that's consistent all the time that's not quite as good but still pretty good? The sights make it very accurate, and the trigger makes the interface with the user very easy to do, so shots at 50 and 100 yards are very doable with this firearm. And speaking of the recoil impulse, because that's what a lot of people are going to want to know, because accuracy, standing accuracy is amazing, but how is the recoil impulse? Because that's really going to be what's different with this pistol as opposed to the polymer frame, because you did add a bunch of weight, and a lot of that weight is out front. Taming the, I would say, the excessive muzzle flip of the PPQ itself. The PPQ has a problem with muzzle flip because generally it's a very light gun and it has a very tall slide. But this particular gun adds a bunch of weight right where it needs to be, so it tames that recoil quite a bit, that muzzle flip. And they have the slide cuts in there as opposed to the standard PPQ, so lightening the slide, heavying the frame is a classic formula people use to lower recoil, and it really works here. Is it lower than the Shadow 2? I would say no. The Shadow 2 has lower recoil and is a little bit faster gun because it is 4 ounces heavier, and as you can see, the slide is smaller on the Shadow 2 and the dust cover is larger. So more weight towards the bottom, less up top for the Shadow, making it recoil a little bit less. Is that overly noticeable? I would say no. I would say with enough training, you could be just as fast or even faster with the PPQ. However, you're always going to be at a slight downside not having the best particular frame. The other downside to the PPQ, as far as recoil management, is the size of the grip. Now, if you buy the Pro model, you're not going to have as big of a problem because you're going to have that mag wall and you can kind of leverage on that. But honestly, the balance and the recoil is a little bit off in this pistol because they decided to make a competition gun with only 15-round magazines. So you're going to have much smaller grip than a standard competition style gun like a 2011, 1911, CZ, whatever you're going to be running, Glock 34, they're usually going to have a 17 or 19 round magazine, so the grip is just going to be larger, where this is going to be a lot smaller. So if you have smaller hands, this is going to be a great size for you. However, if you have larger hands, this is probably going to be a big detriment to you, because not only is the grip smaller, but the distance between your trigger finger, the pad of your finger, and the web of your hand is going to be smaller as well. I can stick my finger all the way in this gun, where something like Shadow 2, it places my finger much more comfortably on the trigger shoe. I do like the grip. I like the grip module. The texture is really nice on the grip. It's kind of a weird beehive, honeycomb kind of thing that they have going on there. It looks really cool. The Allen head screws are nice. The checkering on the gun is amazing. I really like the checkering. The undercut on the gun is awesome. Very, very comfortable. You won't be getting any Glock knuckle from this. You can grip the gun fairly high. I wish, again, the slide was a little bit lower, but the slide cuts on this particular firearm look awesome, and they are actually very usable. You can see me doing all those cool guy press checks. It's because they're super easy to do on this gun. They also have cuts here if you want to get the gun ported by like Magnaport or something. You can do that pretty easy. The magazine release works well. The slide release works very well also. It's very big, very easy to use. It is ambidextrous, and you can switch out the magazine release to be ambidextrous as well for you left-handed friendly guys. I know that the button, some of you guys, especially across the pond, like the paddle release better. I like the button better because that's what I'm used to, but I can run the paddle just fine as well. I don't know if they'll have paddle versions of this out in the future, but we'll see. One thing I don't like as much is actually the beaver tail looks really cool, but it's not quite as useful. I think they should have blended this a little bit better. I know this little line here makes it look really cool, and the point of the beaver tail makes it look very unique. However, when you're coming down and trying to holster or try to get the gun out of the holster really quickly, or you're just shooting, after a few rounds, it can be fairly uncomfortable. Let's go over quick some of the problems I found with this gun, and I have listed a few already. Number one, you're going to have an issue with the red dot mounting because you're not going to have co-witness sights. I think the grip should be a little bit bigger. Small-handed people out there are going to love this, but for me, if I was going to keep this gun and run it as my own gun, I really would like a bigger grip. A bigger grip module would help. Maybe the magwell would help, but honestly, I don't see why they would have made a 15-round competition gun. It just seems a little bit silly to me, especially if you're designing an entire new frame. Why not make it a little bit bigger? I know they wanted to use the existing PPQ magazines, but come on, it wouldn't have been that difficult. Another issue that I see is that it's not going to flex in quite as many rolls as the original PPQ match. The original polymer frame match was actually as light or lighter than the Glock 34, so it was one of, if not the lightest 5-inch polymer frame gun on the market, and now that added a little bit more muzzle flip for sure, and it wouldn't have been as good of a range gun as this gun, but it would have been close, and you could also use that to flex into a whole bunch of other roles, like concealed carry, for example, or shit hit the fan, any taken to a training class. You're going to like that on your hip all day a lot more than you're going to like this heavier gun. Now, if you're buying this just for a dedicated competition pistol, then absolutely go with this route. Just know that in advance. If you're looking for your first high-end gun and you want it to flex into a bunch of rolls, this might not be the best thing for it. And the very last problem that I see that I think they did with this gun is I really like the idea of a striker-fired steel frame gun. I like that a lot. I like the consistency out of the holster. I like the consistency of training. But two problems with that. One, you're going up against the best triggers on the market. Like, if you're going to be running this gun in competition, you're going to be running it against something like a CZ AccuShadow, which I have a comparison video, or even something like a 2011. Now, this is a 1911, but same concept, same trigger group, and I'm going to show you the trigger difference between the Walther and a 1911. So you see that? Almost no trigger travel at all to the rear. Almost no reset whatsoever. So that's a huge advantage when it comes to shooting fast and accurate. That 1.5 to 2 pound single action trigger that you're going to get with a 1911, 2011, or CZ. You are just not going to get with the 5.5 pound trigger pull from the PPQ. I think they can eliminate some of the creep, and I think they can, what I would have personally have done for this price is I would have put from the factory a stock Apex flat face trigger in this, because that can and will turn this gun a much closer to a 1911, 2011 style trigger. You'll have a lot less travel, a lot less creep, and you can change the poundage with springs and all that kind of stuff. I'm surprised they went with the standard trigger. I think they did that, honestly, just to save costs, and I think for a $1,500 to $1,700 gun, they should have improved the trigger. That's personally my opinion. I think a 5.5 pound trigger is great for an all-purpose type of gun like the polymer frame, but this is a dedicated competition gun. There isn't going to be much else you're going to be doing with this, so a much lighter, crisper, shorter trigger would have been a big advantage for this gun personally. And average competition guns of the same price being a 10, like a 10 out of 10, this is probably still a 9.8. This is a fantastic gun, but you're going, in my opinion, if I was going to run this gun, I would add the magwell and I would add an Apex flat face trigger. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later. You ready?
Yep.
Double taps real well.
That's good to know. Isn't that a rule of Zombieland?
What?
Always double tap?
It is, yeah. That's funny.